this actually flows quite well with the previously discussed topic of science gone mad and the worship by the left and by the NPCs of so-called science superseding the use of very basic common sense. So we have here, I saw this week, new headline from Insider Paper. You're seeing on the screen, scientists have revived a zombie virus that spent 48,500 years allegedly frozen in permafrost, per CNN. Now, why would you go and do a thing like that? You know? Like, the world was just fine before you mad scientists decided you had to go and start unfreezing supposedly 50,000-year-old viruses for no reason. And as we know, right, of course, scientists handling viruses in laboratories has never gone wrong ever. That's a fact. Never once in history has it ever gone wrong. But I think this proves an important point, which is that our class of scientists, for the most part, now let me be clear, I'm sure there's good ones, but I think a lot of scientists are genuinely not good or virtuous people. See, we paint this image of scientists being like these philanthropists trying to save the world. And that's why people say, trust the science, worship Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates is such a good guy, all this stuff. Of course, the environmentalists, and this is not much of an exaggeration, want to put the scientists in charge of global policy. Not global like scientific funding or whatever, global economic policy, cultural policy, all of it. And yet, as we often see, a lot of scientists are not the good, virtuous people that are trying to save the world. I'm sure some are. I'm sure that's a reason why some of them are in it. But we find that very often a lot of scientists are actually antisocial, inhuman sociopaths hell-bent on the power of doing whatever they want. All right, folks, emergency pause here in the video, but we need to talk because you saw the news this weekend. Silicon Valley Bank, many other banks are failing. We have obviously seen the housing market. Folks, I don't need to tell you this, but the economy is on the verge of recession, and that's something you already know. And in tough times like this, you gotta be prepared, and you gotta keep your money and keep your future in the things that are stable and not going to go up in flames in a recession. And that's why you need to protect yourself with today's sponsor at Noble Gold Investments. Folks, you have worked too hard to build up your savings and investments to see it all crushed in the financial fallout of whatever's about to happen next. And gold and silver from Noble Gold Investments are real, tangible assets in times like these. And a surefire way to keep your money safe for retirement is a precious metals IRA. Noble Gold Investments has been helping people like you keep their money safe for years with these IRAs, and this month they are giving away a beautiful Gold Eagle bullion coin with a qualifying IRA of $50,000 or higher. So make sure you don't get trampled. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Again, that is noblegoldinvestments.com. They support the program, and they will support you in a time like this. All right, on with the video. And you can argue about why that is. Maybe it's just they're addicted to the power. They're addicted to the feeling of being able to do like whatever they're able to do. But personally, what I would say on this topic is, and this is going to sound weird, but I kind of attribute it to autism. You attribute it to autism, Vince? What the heck does that even mean? Well, it's because, like, I think very often, very, very smart people are bound to be just like a little bit autistic, right? On the spectrum slightly. And you talk to someone with like over 160 IQ, it's very rare that they're completely normally socially adjusted, right? They're a little bit on the spectrum. No hate to them, right? No, I'm not attacking autistic people. But it's just simply true that a lot of autistic people have a hard time really grasping like people and human emotions and kind of like humanity. And again, that's not an attack on autistic people. It's just a reality of the condition. But the issue is that's a lot of like geniuses out there are like that. And then when you put these people's genius unrestricted, in charge of humanity, you end up with a guy like Bill Gates. Okay, so Bill Gates has no understanding of people or humanity or anything. He's very smart, but he's like this sociopathic utilitarian genius where he's just like, oh, we're going to grow a bunch of synthetic meat, make 15-minute cities, blah, blah, blah. Same with Fauci. Fauci is not a normal person, so he doesn't understand why normal people might not want to wear masks forever. And the case is just simply true. Scientists oftentimes are complete sociopaths, okay? Oh, they're all a bunch of virtuous people trying to save the world. Not very often or not always the case, okay? And this isn't to say that we shouldn't use their genius as a society. Of course, I think there are ways that the genius of a scientist and the genius of very smart people should and can be used for good, but we shouldn't just say blanket statements like trust the scientists, much less put the scientists in charge of the world. We shouldn't just give these people free reign over human society. They don't belong there. They don't belong in politics because they are inhuman sociopaths. And frankly, we need normal and socially adjusted people to be able to step in and say, okay, Jimmy, okay, come on now. All right, that's too much. Come home. You know, we need human restraints on what the scientists are and aren't allowed to do. And frankly, I don't think they can be trusted to just do that themselves. So, okay, Bill Gates, no, I'm sorry. You can't just make synthetic meat. Sorry. No, Jimmy, you can't just unfreeze, 48,000-year-old viruses. That's actually a bad idea. Even AI. You look at all this AI stuff. Why should it actually exist? Can anyone answer that question? Why does all this AI have to be a thing? And nobody is worried about any of it, And you might look at me and say, oh, Vince, you just watch Terminator too much. You're just paranoid. No, nobody is allowed to ask questions. Hey, why are we handing over control of humanity to artificial intelligence? It's ridiculous. We as the regular people should have the power to check the scientific establishment and thinking with common sense, not giving them free reign of the earth, okay? We need to have the humane and ethical considerations that many of these scientists are literally just simply not capable of doing themselves. We should not simply trust the science for the sake of trusting the science. We should rather practice discernment to use the benefits of science to humanity's advantage, sure, but also factor in considerations like ethics, humanity, and common sense. A 15-minute city, which I'm sure you've heard about by now, they're kind of just these ideas of basically walling you into this pod of a city for the sake of climate change. Oh, don't move around. That's going to cause climate change. It's very dystopian, but the 15-minute city, for example, a 15-minute city might make sense to a scientist, right? It certainly makes sense to an AI or a robot. Hey, it's more efficient. Hey, it doesn't use as much fuel or whatever, right? But it is completely deprived of basic humanity or a soul. Any average normal person would look at that and be like, that's insane. But to a completely sociopathic scientist, they don't understand that that's no way to live, okay? And so science, we ought to really recognize this. Science is a tool that should be used to serve us when we want it to serve us, okay? It's not a religion. It's not God. It's not even humanity. It is a tool for us to use, not to let run the entire world. And that is why I do not, quote unquote, trust the science. All right. Hey guys, Vince Dao here. Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And on top of that, be sure to tune in to the Vince Dao Show starting this week, every single night live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Many are saying it will soon become one of the most premier shows on the American political right. I didn't say that. I just heard that. So be sure to tune in. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every weekday of the night this week. Come and join us. Thanks, guys. God bless.